right, sweet. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here for the very first game. This is going to be a best-of-9 Winners League format tournament match. And it is, of course, going to be alternate attacks versus Acer. And representing Acer, we have got the red Zerg player at the top left-hand corner of Kyderia. It is going to be Acer.ParanOid. And just over yonder, it looks like their Overlords have already cross-scouted. We will have a ZVZ mirror matchup here. It is the blue Zerg player, casted many games of this guy before. It is alternate attacks, DarKFoRcE.
Yeah, DarKFoRcE been around forever. Just a staple in the European community, an excellent Zerg player. Now, Acer has a ridiculously stacked Zerg lineup. They've got Nerchio in the bank. They can pull him out at any point. The recently acquired Scarlet. Both just phenomenal Zerg players. And actually, I believe Scarlet was picked up on account of Acer scouting her out as a player and basically saying, you know, he saw something brilliant in her play.
Who scouted out? You said
Nerchio, excuse me.
Okay.
Yeah, excuse me. Nerchio. So Nerchio showing a lot of respect to Scarlet in that regard. And, you know,
She's really good, man.
Yeah, she took the WCS, you know, just been performing incredibly well lately. And so has Nerchio.
Right.
Nerchio has been playing outstanding StarCraft lately. So they do have two pretty heavy hitters in the lineup ready to go at any point.
Yeah, if you had to put your money down, definitely feel like Acer's got the advantage here, what with Nerchio and Scarlet on their team. This is going back to Wings of Liberty. Actually, this is funny because I haven't casted a Wings of Liberty game in like a month. Well, not a month, but like 2 weeks now. Because the Heart of the Swarm beta came out a few weeks ago, and we have just been so busy doing Heart of the Swarm games, doing the PhD Heart of the Swarm beta tournament, which was the first beta tournament for Heart of the Swarm, and it was really, really fun and awesome. So it's been a while going back into Wings of Liberty here, but already some interesting things to note. Obviously, you're not going to have the new Zerg units at hand here, namely the Swarm Host.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to see any of those.
And they're actually really good in ZVZ. That's why I mentioned that, that unit.
Yeah, they're pretty good. Now, we do have Hatch first here from both players. Looks like we do have a gas down for DarKFoRcE right now. Going to go ahead and get that speed down. Paranoid pretty much following the exact same build. 2 queens coming for both players. Speed started at just about the exact same time. And, you know, currently in ZVZ, we see a lot of players either getting, you know, both players almost always get a Baneling Nest now, and they will either go into defensive Baneling with a Spine Crawler, or one player will be the aggressor generally, get a bunch of Lings out, you know, make his way across the map, and, you know, try and get a little bit of damage done by sneaking some Lings in, running some Banelings into the natural, maybe get a nice detonation. And then generally we do see them work their way towards a third base, and oftentimes go for Mutas. Now, I don't know if this map would necessarily be that great for Mutalisks, especially with these positions. They do have north-south spawn on the left-hand side of the map, so the main and natural are relatively close to one another, but it seems like it would be pretty easy to defend Muta Ras.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, the Queens obviously are a good unit against any type of air. Infestors can be good as well. It doesn't look like any players getting Infestation Pit now, but you make a good point that Mutalisks are a strategy that are quite viable in ZVZ here in StarCraft 2. Yeah, and you mentioned both players should be getting the Baneling Nest out. That is what we're seeing, at least from DarKFoRcE, who's got a Baneling Nest already. And actually, Paranoid hasn't made a Baneling Nest yet. And usually in ZVZ, you will make a Baneling Nest, whether, like you said, for it be defensive or offensive Banelings. But what Paranoid's done here is said, well, I'm going to skip Banelings entirely and go right into Roaches. And if you get enough Roaches out on the field, those can also be a pretty good deterrent to Zergling Baneling as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It looks like he is actually going for a Roach Speedling timing push here. I do believe he made about 5 Roaches. They're making their way across the map right now as we speak. 6 actually, and he's going to follow that up with a ton of Speedlings here, and he's continuing to produce Speedlings actually.
Wow.
DarKFoRcE putting down 3 crawlers as we speak, going for that conventional 2-base into Muta style that I was actually talking about, not even attempting to take his 3rd here. Rocks being broken down on the left-hand side of the map by Paranoid. 2 Lings do sneak in. He sees no layer, no second gas. Is he going to scout it? No, he actually stops right there, but oh my goodness. Is he going to be able to hold this off?
You know what, getting in there and not seeing anything out at the front not seeing the gases at the natural, and then going up in here, not seeing any units. I mean, he's got to realize something weird is going on here. And the Roaches and Zerglings are making their way across the map. They've broken through the rocks, and DarKFoRcE does have a lot of crawlers, but will he be able to land the Banelings before the Roaches pick them off? He's going to try to hide the Banelings away, but no, he brings them in and detonates them on Roaches. I'm not entirely sure about that, Pain User.
No, I mean, that could end up costing him the game right there.
Yeah.
He does have some good micro here, going to save a lot of these drones, but he has to find a way to clean up the rest of these units. The Spire is about to finish here. He has quite a bit of gas. He's not actually going to kill the Spire, it looks like, and he might actually get held off here. And
the problem is DarKFoRcE doesn't really have that much money to make all that many mutas anyways. He's making 3 right now. He has a lot of gas banked up, but the money is a problem right now because he had to invest so much into, you know, Zerglings and Roaches, not Roaches, but Zerglings and Crawlers to defend that attack.
Yeah.
So right now he's only making 3 Mutalisks, and on top of that, the Spire was scouted. So I think you'd agree with me here that ParanOid is pretty far ahead.
Yeah, ParanOid. I think it really depends on how much damage he's able to inflict with these Mutalisks, because ParanOid's lair.
DarKFoRcE?
Yeah, ParanOid's lair is obviously very late. You know, he is getting those Spore Crawlers up, so he's going to have to hold that off. But the supplies are relatively even, 61 to 54 here. Harvester count definitely in ParanOid's favor after that attack. He did pick off a few drones there, and interesting. Relocating a few extra Spine Crawlers over there towards the Spire.
Yeah, I guess he really wants to make sure the Spire stays up, and you know, normally I would just wall this off with the Evolution Chambers and make the Spine Crawlers there, but he's sending in the Mutazine. He's actually been able to build up a significant amount now, but the problem is the Spire was scouted so early on that ParanOid should have adequate anti-air up. He's got Spores at the 3rd, and going to go ahead and check over at the Natural right now. It looks like he doesn't have Spores here, but he has 2 Queens. He just lost 1, though.
Looks like he might lose the second one here.
Oh, wow. Is he really going to lose to this Muta counter?
Oh, man. He might actually have to concede the position at his Natural here. He does have a Hydralisk Den, though. How many Hydras are in production right now? It's tough to see. Okay, there's 5 Hydras in production right now. He's going to lose a bunch of drones here, and DarKFoRcE able to bring the game back into his favor, and I'm not really sure why ParanOid didn't end up building a Spore at his Natural there. I mean, yeah. Mutas are so mobile, they can find holes in your defense, and that's really what their job is.
He made Spores at the 3rd. He just neglected to make any Spores at the Natural. Great point.
I think he felt like the 3 Queens could potentially hold it off, but one of the Queens got picked off so quick.
Yeah.
Didn't really have any support from the other 2. He is trying to get some Spores up here. Is he going to get the cancel off? No, loses that one. Might lose this other one, and losing all of this mining time at the Natural is just absolutely crippling him.
Yeah, actually, DarKFoRcE is starting to pull right back into this game. Where are the Hydralisks that ParanOid's been making so far? He's actually banking them inside the main base right now. I don't know, man. These Mutas from DarKFoRcE have been able to pull him right back into the game, but it is still a 3-base Zerg to a 2-base, so DarKFoRcE needs to get another expansion down at some point. He's going to rely heavily on this Mutalisk Harass to keep him in the game despite being down 1 hatchery. It looks like he's continuing to pick off workers here.
Yeah. He has picked off quite a few. He's going to grab that gas as well. That's a nice pickup for him. And really just being so incredibly annoying here. Has taken the lead in drone count as well. And is he going to try and grab a 3rd here? He hasn't yet attempted to grab a 3rd, which I find kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Not really sure why he hasn't tried to do that. It looks like he might be going for some sort of a Baneling bust with speed. Yeah, he is getting speed. Okay, it's about to finish. He's got a ton of Banelings on the way, and those will be excellent once they get on creep versus those Hydralisks.
Right.
Too bad they don't have that speed upgrade.
This isn't Heart of the Storm.
No, it's not.
Yeah, and Heart of the Storm Hydras actually are really, really good,
Yeah,
even
they're
against Protoss because of the Hydra speed, but that's not available yet. We jumped right back through the DeLorean. We're back in time right now, so you don't have those evolutionary strains available, and it looks like DarKFoRcE here has Baneling Muta, man, and it's a pretty good composition against Roach Hydra if you can land the Banelings on the Hydras and then let the Mutas finish off the Roaches. But you know what? ParanOid's doing a good job of keeping the Hydras in the back. However, all these Zerglings made a run by into the main base, and ParanOid's going to continue to lose more workers.
He's going to hit the 3rd at the exact same time.
Oh.
Huge detonations going off here for DarKFoRcE. That was an excellent play right there. Forced him back into the main, harassed the third at the same time. He's streaming in more lings here. I don't know. This is going to be so tough for Paranoid to recover from. He's losing units left and right. He does still have quite the pack of Roach Hydra, though, and that's always something deadly in ZVZ, especially when your opponent's going with a Mutiling composition.
Yeah, that's a good point. Typically, Roach Hydra, it's a more stable army composition, especially if you can get upgrades going. Right now, it looks like Paranoid's got +1 weapons. Armor's great against Mutalisks as well, and typically, towards the end of the game of ZVZ, Roach Hydra is much more dominant than Muta Zergling, and that's why DarKFoRcE is trying to inflict as much damage as he can right now, because he knows his army composition isn't equipped to deal with Roach Hydra towards the late game, and he's doing a great job at that.
Yeah, for sure. He's stayed very active with these Mutalisks almost all game long. You know, he hasn't really ceased. Oh, might get the Roach Warren here.
Yeah. Those Hydras saved the Roach Warren just in time.
Just in the nick of time. 10 more Hydras on the way here, too. But we do have Infestors here coming out for DarKFoRcE. He's also getting Roach Speed, missile attacks, level 1. So making a transition here into Infestor Roach, which I think should be able to get the upper hand of this Roach Hydra composition that Paranoid's going with. Does Paranoid have an infestation pit down? I don't see one.
I don't see one, but one thing to note is Paranoid does have +2 weapons started right now, so they'll have an upgrade advantage. And Roach Hydra versus Roach Infestor, it really depends on the Infestors and getting good fungals. If you don't get really good fungals off, then actually Roach Hydra will crush Roach Infestor. So it does depend a lot on DarKFoRcE's micro here, and it looks like he's going to go in with the Infestors. He's also got Muta backup. Good fungals right there. And that's going to weaken down that pack, but he just doesn't have enough Roaches yet, and he can't afford to lose any of his Infestors here. He doesn't have enough energy for another fungal either, so flirting with a very dangerous situation at that moment in time.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he used those first 3 fungals very quickly. The Infestors haven't been out for that long, so they haven't banked enough energy to chain fungal in a big battle like this. But he is going to come back into the main with some more harassment here, and look at that, 33 workers killed thus far. These Mutas, the run-bys with the links, the Baneling detonation at the third have just done so much damage for him.
And he's going to get the Roach Warren as well from against Paranoid, so he will not be able to make more Roaches for some time. It looks like he's going to try to get for the Spore Crawler, which will go down, and so the main base now is exposed, it seems like, and Paranoid now has to make a decision. Do I pull back some Hydras to defend, or do I just go for a straight counter? And I don't know about a straight counter against Infestors and Crawlers, and he's going to have a hard time reinforcing this position because he can't make new Roaches, and this could be really bad for Paranoid.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting caught off creep, the Roaches just charging in headlong, the Fungals doing a great job forcing part of his army to be stationary there at the bottom while he ran those Roaches up and started cleaning up the Hydras. The Mutas, meanwhile, have been doing a ton of damage at the main.
He actually didn't pay attention to his Mutas. He lost about 8 Mutas, I think, to that single Spore Crawler.
Yeah, but I mean, the main,
it doesn't matter,
the main's not mining. He killed both the gases, and
the most important thing is Paranoid lost like his entire army trying to slam into Infestors and static defense.
For sure.
That's usually you don't really want to do that. And DarKFoRcE is really smart because when you go Mutas initially, you need a lot of Crawlers to back up your Muta army because you don't have a stable ground army to support it, at least on the beginning. And so he really positioned all the Crawlers he made this game. He brought them all down to the third, and they did a wonderful job at helping hold off that attack.
Yeah, no doubt. And he added a few more, actually. I'm not so sure. He seems to be worried about some sort of a counter push here from Paranoid, but I really feel like now is his chance to go on the offensive. I mean, he just killed that gigantic army.
Killer instinct.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's adding more spine crawlers. He's adding more defense, but I feel like he could really kill Paranoid here, and I think that's just what he intends to do. Paranoid needs to watch out for these fungals, though. If he gets a big fungal, that could be huge. Yeah. A bunch of Roaches do get fungaled right there, and oh my goodness, I think DarKFoRcE has enough to just run him over here and take the third.
Yeah, I think so, man. With this many Infestors, he should be okay. And it looks like he is going to go for the kill here. This is actually something that I'm terrible at. I never have killer instinct, man. You always bagging on me about that, but it's true, man.
Killer instinct. Nice skill to have.
It is.